There's a bedroom in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where the window has stayed open every summer night for 4 decades. No screen has been installed, and no electric devices, candles, or sprays have ever been used near the bed. Yet during all that time, the person sleeping there has not experienced mosquito bites at night. That place sits near a creek running behind the property, and a wet field about 200 yards away floods every spring and remains damp through late summer. By normal expectations, this should be an area with heavy mosquito presence. Still, the room remains strangely unaffected. The explanation is said to be on the window ledge, tied together in simple bundles that have been placed there for generations. The practice goes back within the family and has been maintained without formal explanation or written instruction, simply passed down through habit. The narrator, Isaac Miller, an Amish farmer from that same region, describes growing up around these bundles without paying attention to them. They were always present in the home, treated as part of the household environment rather than something to question. In that community, it was common for older members not to explain traditions unless directly asked. A clearer understanding came later during a summer visit from a cousin outside the community. That cousin slept in a nearby room with a window screen, yet became heavily bitten overnight, with irritation on the arms, neck, and even swelling near the eye. Meanwhile, the narrator's room without a screen remained unaffected. Confusion led to asking the mother for an explanation, and attention was directed toward the bundle on the windowsill. The response was brief, suggesting it had always been part of how bedrooms were maintained. The phrase "always been" reflected a tradition that had been carried through generations, not questioned or documented, only preserved through repetition over time. The bundle itself contains 3 dried plants tied together with simple string: lavender, catnip, and citronella grass. Each of these is known in various forms, especially citronella, which is commonly used in commercial mosquito repellents. However, the household method relies on the plants in dried form rather than processed oils or burning candles. The reasoning given is that typical citronella candles do not function effectively because they burn too quickly and release their scent unevenly into open air. Wind disperses the active compounds before a protective concentration can build up, making them ineffective at forming any consistent barrier. In contrast, the dried plant bundle is not burned. It remains fixed in place on the windowsill, allowing the scent to remain localized and steady around entry points, rather than being scattered or consumed rapidly. The approach focuses on placement and consistency, rather than diffusion through smoke or heat. It is positioned at one exact location, the boundary where outdoor air transitions into indoor space. At that threshold, it slowly releases scent compounds in a controlled, passive way. This is placed on a windowsill, a ledge, or the inner edge of a window frame. Mosquitoes are not driven away by large clouds of smell. More precisely, they are disrupted or guided away by concentrated scent exactly where they attempt entry. That narrow passage becomes the key point of defense. Think of it this way. A candle attempts to affect an entire room at once. The bundle focuses only on a single entry point and makes that passage undesirable for mosquitoes. That task is simpler and more effective because the insect does not need to avoid the whole space. It only needs to avoid a very small section of the window frame it must cross to enter. This idea changes the way the problem is understood. Many commercial solutions over the past 50 years have aimed at treating the entire environment. Sprays, foggers, electronic zappers, and outdoor treatments all attempt broad coverage. Yet these approaches require constant repetition because they never fully close the system. Rooms remain open to air movement. Sprays lose strength over time. Zappers only catch insects that reach them. In contrast, focusing on the single entry gap turns the problem into something manageable and stable. A small bundle of dried plants and simple string can address it, and the effect can last for weeks. The combination of plants is described as having different roles. Citronella grass forms the base layer. Its dried leaves contain compounds known as citronellal and geraniol, the same active elements found in citronella oil used in commercial repellents. In dried form, these compounds are released slowly over time rather than all at once. This makes it the primary working component of the bundle. Lavender provides a second layer. Its main compound, linalool, is believed to discourage mosquitoes. It also contributes to the scent environment of the room. Instead of harsh chemical odors, it creates a calmer, more natural smell that is more comfortable for sleeping spaces. This changes the experience of the room itself while still serving a repellent function. Catnip completes the mixture. Although commonly associated with cats, it contains nepetalactone, a compound that research has suggested may be highly effective against certain mosquito species. Some studies indicate it may perform as well as or even better than DT under controlled conditions, though real-world performance can vary. This plant is often overlooked despite being naturally available in many environments. Together, these 3 plants serve different purposes within the same system. One provides the main repellent effect, one supports and enhances the environment, and one adds a strong active compound that may increase effectiveness. To create the bundle, dried lavender, dried catnip, and dried citronella grass or leaf are required. These ingredients are commonly available in herb shops, grocery stores with dried herb sections, or online sources. The total cost for multiple bundles is typically under $5, since only small amounts are needed each time. Equal portions of each plant are gathered loosely. They do not need precise measurement. The materials are then combined and shaped into a small bundle roughly the size of a hand. It is tied with simple string or twine, firm enough to hold its form, but loose enough to allow air to pass through. The process requires no heating, no extraction, and no mixing of liquids. For a stronger initial scent, the leaves can be lightly crushed before being tied, which helps release natural oils more quickly. Placement is critical. The bundle must be positioned where mosquitoes attempt to enter. This is usually the interior edge of a window or door that is not perfectly sealed. Even small gaps in frames become entry points. It is placed as close as possible to that seam, where the inside meets the outside. For doors that remain open in the evening, the same approach applies. The bundle can be placed near handles or along the threshold where air moves through. The principle remains consistent. Identify the gap where entry occurs and position the scent directly at that point. A single bundle remains effective for approximately 2 to 3 weeks before its scent weakens significantly. The change becomes noticeable when you bring it close and can barely detect any aroma, compared to a fresh one that is easily noticeable from about a foot away. When that point is reached, it is simply replaced with a new bundle. The used one is not discarded as waste. It can still be placed inside clothing drawers, where it continues to act as a deterrent for moths, even after losing most of its mosquito-repelling strength. There is also an important clarification about its limits. This is not a complete protective barrier. In areas with extremely high mosquito populations, such as places near stagnant water or during very wet seasons, one bundle placed at a single window is not enough to eliminate mosquitoes throughout an entire home. Its function is focused and specific. It reduces mosquito entry at the exact opening where it is installed, such as a bedroom window or a screen door. It is designed for prevention at entry points, not for eliminating insects that are already inside a room. If mosquitoes are already present indoors, that issue must be addressed first. Only after that should the bundle be used to prevent them from returning. It is also not an immediate solution. Unlike sprays that kill on contact, this method does not eliminate insects directly. Instead, it works by influencing behavior. A mosquito approaching in the dark may detect the scent at the entry point and choose to avoid that path entirely. For this to work, the bundle must still retain its scent when the insect arrives. Once it becomes fully dried out and is not replaced, it no longer provides protection. In situations involving heavy infestations, especially where standing water allows continuous breeding, no bundle, spray, or similar household method alone will resolve the issue. The breeding source itself must be controlled. What remains true is that for everyday conditions, where only a small number of mosquitoes enter through minor gaps each night, this approach has been used consistently across generations without chemicals, electricity, or significant cost. It is also important to consider the broader system around conventional mosquito control. Many commercial products depend on repeated use. Sprays wear off, devices require power, and treatments must be continually purchased. The persistence of the problem is what sustains the industry. In contrast, a simple combination of dried plants and string does not rely on ongoing consumption. There is no subscription, no replacement system beyond natural replacement of plant material, and no complex mechanism involved. The method itself has remained unchanged for a long time because its basic principle has stayed the same. This is not presented as a deliberate scheme or hidden design. Rather, it reflects how information can remain localized within families or communities and never fully spread into commercial systems, even if it is widely usable. At this point, the method is fully outlined. The materials, the purpose of each component, the placement strategy, and the limitations are all clear. It is not intended to be treated as a universal solution, but as a focused approach for a specific type of problem. If you choose to try it, identify the main entry point in your home where mosquitoes tend to come through. Prepare the bundle as described and place it at that exact location. Observe the effect over the following nights and adjust as needed. Call to action. Identify your main entry point tonight and take action to put the method in place before the next evening. Please leave your thoughts about this content in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.